Hey everybody, Kuroda, Jimbo, James, Bacon Mob.
Right here.
He's here.
Gepora Gebora.
K4
Here, it's cool
K4, yeah.
fans.
Biggest, baddest brute.
I go
Big,
by many names.
yeah. But, I don't know, I got nothing.
We're here again for another a special episode of Kuroda Mob
Yep,
News.
and like we've talked about, every, like, 2 or 3 episodes or whatever it is, we are kind of doing like a different discussion rather than the news. There's been some news, but it hasn't been a super eventful couple weeks. Um, and similar to kind of what we did with the last discussion, where the last topic was 5 games that we wanted remade or ported, um, which I think went really well with all of the remakes and stuff that were being released. And likewise, like I'm thinking of today's topic, 5 games that we would like to see a sequel to. Now we suddenly have a new Turtles game that's kind of like retro in that retro
That's
style.
true.
We have like the new Pokemon Snap that came out of nowhere a few months ago. So like that's just a couple, but there's it's interesting how we kind of are able to sort of go off of these big releases.
Yeah, we even saw one of your choices just get announced like yesterday, I think it
Yeah,
was.
we were just joking about that.
The news. Yeah, I was joking how like the new zombies ate my neighbors. Obviously, LucasArts and Disney were watching Corona Mob News.
We're changing things one episode at a time. So if we have that power, then Mother 3 finally release it, Nintendo.
Let's use it responsibly.
But yeah, so today's topic. This one I'm kind of excited about. I don't know how you approached it, but with one exception, by accident, I broke this rule. But for me, I was gonna like when I think of like a game I'd like to see a sequel to, I was just kind of thinking of more of like a one-off game that never got a sequel that I really liked. So that's the approach I took. But then I realized that one of my picks actually did have one sequel, but I just didn't know about it until literally 5 minutes or so before we started recording and everything. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
approach I
okay.
took with it. Now, if you took a different approach, I'm curious to hear like if you kind of had any kind of thoughts on that.
I well, it seems like I tried to take that approach because I didn't like consciously think about that. But looking at my list, like 4 of the 5 games did not get a single sequel at all. So obviously, I was kind of trying to think that way.
Yeah,
Um,
I think a good exception too would have been like if it's a series that just has been dead for many years. I think that's
yeah,
pretty fair
that
too.
was kind of the case for me with Creatures. One of my picks last time was
Mhm.
that it kind of had more sequels than I originally thought when I picked it, but definitely had been dead for a long time. Still,
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Like even if somebody had said like spoiler, one of mine isn't just because we mentioned again. Zombies ate my neighbors. I mean, it technically got a sequel with Ghoul Patrol, but that was in like what maybe a year or two after it, and it's been dead for like over 20 years. So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. They're actually including that with big one coming out too.
yeah. But with the exception of one game, all of my picks, I'm pretty sure didn't have a sequel. So yeah, I'm really excited. Curious about what your
All
picks
right.
are. You went really out of the box, so I feel like I had to try myself, but I'm sure you're gonna one up me.
I didn't try super hard to go out of the box. I feel like I picked 2 that were a little more niche, I guess.
Hmm.
Guess we'll see. Do you want to just do the same thing where we like start at
Yeah, sure.
5 and
Why
count
don't you go
down?
first? What's your number 5?
All right. I picked a game that was originally exclusive to the Ouya. I don't know if you
Oh
remember that
man,
system.
yeah, I know of the Ouya. I've just never played it. So okay, we're off to a good start.
They made like a kind of sequel, not really a sequel. It was more of just like a expanded version. It was called Towerfall originally, and then it was called Towerfall Ascension when it
Oh, of
came to
course.
PC.
Yep.
And I mean, I love that game a lot. It has like amazing pixel art, great sound effects and music, and just like the game, like fighting feels fantastic. Like it feels like Smash Brothers caliber to me.
Same studio that did Celeste as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, yeah, okay, I thought so. I loved Celeste.
I think it's called Matt Makes Games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was that's what they were called when they made Towerfall. I think it was, but it's just like uh, I know like a lot of games go for that like retro feel with like the pixelated graphics and the chiptune, but like that developer like knows how to nail that feel. Like
Yes.
they're
Oh,
really good at it.
I completely agree.
So like I'd love to see a sequel to Towerfall that like just expands it, like maybe adds more of a story, has better online. I don't think the original even had online.
Mm-hmm.
It had like really fantastic local battles that you could do and local co-op. You can add like tons of different modifiers to it. Like you could make it like slow and like just like Smash Brothers, like you could have just different types of special
Mm-hmm.
matches and like add different types of items and stuff like that. And it was just like a really replayable fighting game. So I'd just love to see more of that.
Yeah, I have it on the Switch. It's
Oh,
and
really?
Yep, and it's I played a little bit. It's pretty fun, and I like I said, I really like Celeste too, and I'd love to see that studio do more because they're very good. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know they've got their hands busy with their next game, which also looks great. But I'd love to see them revisit Towerfall.
Cool. That was an interesting pick. So you again you started out of the box. I know you were trying to do it, but I knew it was just gonna happen anyway. Um, my number five. Do you have any more you want to say about Towerfall?
No, that's pretty much
Okay.
it.
My number five is the only one that actually did have a sequel, but I didn't realize until, like I said, a few minutes before we started talking. Um, and it's a super old game, a game that I really liked a lot when I was a kid. And the game is Balloon Fight.
Nice.
Uh, so it technically, I didn't know that it technically had a sequel called Balloon Kid, which was on the Game Boy. Um,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
so I've never played it. And if you count technically, there's you know, it's been ported to a bunch of different Nintendo systems. I think it's on the Virtual Console for on the Switch now. I assume for Nintendo
I'm
Online.
pretty sure it's on
It
that,
must
yeah.
be on there. Yeah. I used to play that game. I didn't have an NES growing up, but I emulated a lot of NES when I got my first computer, like in the late '90s. And Balloon
It's
Fight
funny.
was one of the first games that I played. And when I eventually did get an NES, and I got like a few games with it, I Balloon Fight
Mm.
was one of those games. So I would play it a lot, and it's super like it's one of those Iwata gems, you know. And it's just super fun, especially to play two player with. And I could just see, like, I would love to see Nintendo make some kind of even akin to something like, um, I don't know why Splatoon comes to mind or something like Tetris, like just some kind of hub game where you could have a whole bunch of people on the screen playing. I think that'd be really really fun. You could do like a
It's gonna be interesting.
like imagine playing Balloon Fight but with say like 20 people on like a little bit bigger of a map, and you race to see who can win. You know, I feel like could get really chaotic if they added a lot of elements to it. So, um,
Did you play it multiplayer a lot?
yeah, I had two controllers. I used to play with my sister. It was really fun.
Okay, that
Yeah,
sounds way more fun. Because
and there was Balloon
like
Trip, which was like eh. But...
because I was gonna say I honestly was way more of a fan of Balloon Trip.
Oh
Like I've
really?
played,
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
but that's it's possible that that's because I didn't even realize this until I finally I used to own this like collection of shareware games for DOS when I was a kid.
Hmm.
And I finally got my hands on it again recently, and I realized that there was a complete ripoff of Balloon Trip. It was like a DOS VGA game.
That's
So
so
some
random.
independent developer had made it, and I was just like completely like it must have been like subconsciously imprinted in my memory because I remember when I had Animal Crossing, I got a Balloon Fight, and I found this Balloon Trip mode, and I just like would play it a ton, and I like would play it on my 3DS a bunch as well because I got it as an ambassador game.
Cool.
And I don't know. I just like Balloon Trip, especially the music. I don't know.
I like the music of Balloon Trip, but I never really played it a bunch. I always liked playing against somebody more. It was really fun. It was,
Yeah.
um,
Like I imagine the other mode would be a lot of fun, but I've never played it with somebody else. I've only played it by myself.
I feel like playing it with a whole bunch of people could be really chaotic and really fun. I think they could do it really well. They don't even have to get creative. They could just call it versus balloon fight or something stupid or balloon free for all or I don't know something silly
Balloon
like
Fight
that.
99.
Yeah, whatever.
But not like where you're just like on your own screen against and then like you see the other screens, which are literally 99 Balloon Fight guys
On
on
one
one
screen,
screen.
yeah, that'd be insane. I don't know. I was just thinking like I don't know why I thought Splatoon because it wouldn't be that complicated, but just
Um,
something, and remake it. Don't just be lazy and do it in NES graphics. I think they should upgrade it or something. But yeah, I think that could be a really fun game, And they could even do, or if they wanted to be a little lazy about it, and just do like an NES style or whatever. That would be cool too, but make it free. Like you
yeah,
said, something like Tetris 99.
I can see that.
So yeah, balloon fight, my number five.
Yeah. I feel like I want to rearrange mine now because that's like the perfect segue for one of my choices.
We'll go for it, whatever you
Um,
want to do.
all right. Well, there was actually a game in this that referenced Balloon Fight. It was Nintendo Land.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a really good pick. Yeah.
And isn't it though? Because like when Nintendo Land was announced as a launch game for the Wii U, I was like, meh. I didn't really care
Hmm.
that much about it. But then I actually bought the game and like played it, and it's like a really great party game. It's like there's like a ton of great value in there. Like the Mario Chase game is great. I think the Zelda game is pretty good. Like
The
it's basically
Luigi's
just a Wii
Mansion
Sports
one's the
Resort.
best one.
Which one?
The Luigi's Mansion game.
Oh yeah, the Luigi's Mansion was amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, the Animal Crossing one was okay. I can't remember what the other one was
There's a
that you could
Metroid
play with
one.
multiple people. Yeah, the Metroid one you could play co-op as well.
Hmm.
And there was about a few other ones that were solo that weren't quite as good, including a Balloon Fight one and a really bad F-Zero one. Um, but the party games in it were like amazing. And
Yeah.
like I feel like bringing that to the Switch and like making more party games based on more Nintendo properties, and they could do more obscure stuff again, like because they referenced some obscure ninja game for some reason in this game too, and they referenced like the octopus from Game and Watch or something
That's
too. I
so
don't know. They did
random.
something weird, but like there's like ton. It's like Smash Brothers, like trophies, and like there's so much like Nintendo history like rife for the picking here, and they could like make so many cool mini games based on those.
I remember you bringing that to a party or two and playing that, and everybody just had a great time. You know. So
Yeah,
yeah.
especially Mario Run. Like it's just amazing. Like you don't have to have the asynchronous multiplayer for it to work.
Hmm.
Like obviously that made it cool, but you honestly could do it with phones. Like Nintendo could totally do like a Jackbox thing
Hmm.
and have people playing on their phones. It's like it's not impossible to have asynchronous multiplayer on the Switch.
That game got crazy when we played the Mario Run thing. That was really fun and really really hilarious too. And
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what they could do with the Switch because obviously, and actually, it's funny because a lot of people talk about the Wii U and one of the reasons it not selling well is because of hey they didn't really do anything with the gamepad. It's probably the best example that I can think of a game that utilized the gamepad well.
one of the only ones. I
Yeah,
could say that and Mario Maker,
yeah,
and to a lesser extent Splatoon. Those were really the only games I think that actually used it like
yeah.
really
You're
well.
probably right. Yeah. So, and I would even say that Nintendo Land probably used it the best because to have one person doing something on the gamepad and then the other people can't see them. It worked
Yeah.
out really well for that game. So it'd be cool to see what they could do with the Switch, like what kind of novelty they could do.
Yeah, and we're seeing a ton of games like the Jackbox Party Pack, and there's other games. I've seen this one game called What the Dub
Hmm.
that you play with your phone, but it's on the Switch. And like we're seeing a lot of these asynchronous type of games come up, where you like can't see what's on other people's screens. So I feel like Nintendo Land could totally work nowadays again.
Yeah, I agree. That was a cool pick. I not surprised now hearing it, but I wasn't expecting it, so that was cool.
Yeah, like obviously they're not going to be able to port it, so
Yeah.
they're going to need to do a sequel.
Side note: next time I see you, and we have a party, we're playing Nintendo Land.
Oh, I said I do still have the Nintendo Land disc, but I don't have a working Wii U system.
I said shows goes to show you how desperate they got in the last couple years there with the Wii U, because when I bought my Wii U, it came already loaded on the console, Nintendo Land and Mario 3D World, so I just have it. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. So, which
that's pretty cool.
realistically the game probably should just come with the system in the first place. But anyway, we're getting
Uh,
off track, but that was a good pick.
yeah. What was your number four?
Okay, my number four is another oldie here. I don't know if you've ever played it, but I've recently played a bit of this, and I really, really like it. And I played a bit of it actually when I was a kid too, but I kind of have more of appreciation for it now. And it is Wriststar for the Sega Genesis. Um,
Okay.
cool little platformer, kind of different. I played it as a kid actually on the Game Gear because there's a Game Gear version of it. My buddy had one. He'd bring it in, and I played on the bus on the way to school and stuff once in a while. Really cool game. I kind of like the glide mechanic and how he can kind of use his arms and climb and stuff. It was a fun little kind of charming, simple platformer. And apparently, Wristar was supposed to be like Sega intended it intended Wristar to be like the next Sonic the Hedgehog, like their next big sort of IP, and it just didn't pan out that way. And they were gonna make a sequel, but never did because it didn't really sell super well. Because they released it right before the Sega Saturn was released, which usually isn't a good idea if you want to actually sell the game. But yeah, it's a fun, charming little platformer. I love the graphics in it. The music's kind of catchy, and they never made a sequel ever, and would
Huh.
be really cool to see them do something with it. I don't know. It's a pretty dormant old IP that I would. There's a few Sega IPs that I could think of too, that I'd like to see return. But Wristar is one that never got a sequel for some reason.
I think I've heard of that game a fair amount too.
Yeah.
Like I kind of always mix him up with Staffy or Starfy,
Oh,
as
I know
they
what you're
call
talking
him
about. Yeah.
in the DS game. I always thought Starfy sounded a little weird, a little too much like Barf.
It's
So
one of those
like kind of like
games
Staff.
that like didn't do super well at the time, but has since become a classic. Really.
Yeah, I've never played it, but who was it developed by? Do you know? Was it
It
just
was a
like
first
in-house
party
at Sega?
game. I'm not sure. I have to
Hmm,
look. I'm not sure, to be honest.
okay, that's cool. All right, you want to go to my number? This would be number three at this
Hmm.
point. So this is a game I think this is the first game I ever streamed on my channel. It was also the game that pretty much convinced me to buy an Xbox 360. It was called Shadow Complex,
Yeah. Yep.
and it was published by a company that was not quite as big at the time called Epic, which is quite a juggernaut these
You
days.
may have heard of them.
Yeah, you may have heard them. They're currently in a lawsuit with Apple.
Yeah.
But this was developed by a company called Chair. They went on to make Infinity Blade, which was like a super graphically impressive iPhone game, kind of like Punch Out with swords.
Cool.
But I don't know what they've done. Like they made a second one. They made Infinity Blade 2, and they've been supporting that for a while. But I don't know what they've done since then. But I'd love to see a sequel to this because it's like basically just a love letter to Super Metroid. The entire game. It's just like, what if Super Metroid was like, modern day kind of military shooter where you end up getting just like a super suit from like the military, from like a secret military base. I think it's actually a novel series. I'm not. I can't remember who the author is, but he like assisted with the story for it,
Oh, cool.
and it's kind of just about this like hiker who is with his girlfriend, and he like stumbles across this like secret. It's not a military base. It's like a bunch of like paramilitaries who are like planning to overthrow the government. and you have to like make your way through their base, and like you like steal their secret technology. You like get power ups, much like in Metroid. It's just a really fantastic game.
I remember being really impressed watching because I'd never really heard of the game, and I remember watching that stream. I think you said I think it was one of your first streams ever on your old channel, and it really like you said it on the nose, a love letter to Super Metroid. It looked like it was
Yeah,
really fun, and I don't know, cool little take on the Metroidvania style, you know.
yeah, it has cool like modern sensibilities that you'd see in like a AAA game. Like it has
Mm-hmm.
like ragdoll physics and voice acting, like really nice looking environments.
Yeah,
But it plays like a 2D Super Nintendo game though. It's pretty
I
great.
love that. I love that. That's the kind of game that I love to play. So I would love to see something like that, especially on the
Yeah,
Switch. I mean, those Metroidvania type of games are just perfect for that system. I don't know why.
yeah, I'm not sick of indie Metroidvanias yet, so I'd
No,
love to see them bring it back.
yeah, bring them on. Give me all your Metroidvanias. Cool pick. Again, not surprised to hear it, but
Yeah.
also kind of out of the box. My number three again is another older game, unsurprisingly, and it's from a wonderful system that I love very much. That's on your shirt right now, but
Nice.
it's probably not a
Who's
game that
that?
you're think. It's probably not the game you're thinking of. It's actually Illusion of Gaia, which
Okay.
I've recently actually was playing through again. I I've talked about this. This is different subject, but I've talked about on this channel that I really have been wanting to do a documentary on those old Enix games for the Super Nintendo because after kind of Dragon Quest really didn't do very or Dragon Warrior didn't really do very well over here. Enix just released a bunch, and they had a U.S. branch for the that developed games for the Super Nintendo. But they developed so many of these great little RPGs for the Super Nintendo. And technically, Illusion of Gaia does not have a sequel or is part of a series. Although people call it the Soul Blazer trilogy, which is Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and I think Terranigma.
Hmm.
They're called that, but I don't think they're actually linked, or if they are, it's very loosely linked. But none of those
Yeah, I
games.
never.
Oh, sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say I never played the first game of the series, but I played Illusion of Gaia and I played Terranigma as well, and they
Yeah,
didn't seem to be linked in any way. Like they
yeah.
might take place in the same world, like hundreds of years apart or
Soul
something.
Blazer is great too. And I mean, there's tons of other games like that, like Evo and Ogre Battles, one I know you really love.
I love that game. Yeah.
ActRaiser, but like almost none of them have been even like ported or they haven't done anything with those old games. And
Not in a
there's
long
so many
time.
great ones. And my favorite was always Illusion of Gaia, by far. And what I think I like about Illusion of Gaia is that it's like it kind of mixes that action RPG thing, but it's also a dungeon crawler. It's like if you were to take the story of Final Fantasy VII or of excuse me of the Final Fantasy games and the like maybe some of the RPG elements of something like Secret of Mana and then just had a bunch of dungeons, Zelda dungeons. That's kind of Illusion of Gaia. And I don't know, I've always really loved that game. I've beaten it a few times. Like I said, I was recently replaying it. And it's just such a fun game, and I would love to see a
It's
sequel
really
to it. It would be really awesome.
it has super like unique environments too.
Yes, it does.
Like the city that's just like floating on a bunch of rafts.
Yeah.
I love that. I always like I remember I only rented it as a kid, but I remember just loving exploring that world just because it was like so unique and like compelling.
Yeah, and they always reference like real life historical sites. Like there was the Incan ruins and what is it? I think there was even like a Mayan area too. But there were like
So
these different like little pockets that are supposed to be our real world, you know. And I also like the whole transformation element, how you could temporarily like go into that little like pocket of space, whatever it was, and then you could come out as like the Dark Knight, and then you had like an upgraded power for a certain amount of time. I don't know. It was cool. It was really unique and really fun, and I'd love to see. That's Illusion of Gaia is my placeholder, like the game that I would want, but it'd be cool to see like a sequel to any of those old games.
That was like the first game I ever saw like on a poster where I was like, I need to play that game.
Yeah,
It looks really cool.
yeah, it's a really great game.
And I was like 6 years old. Yep. That's a good. That's a really good pick, actually.
Thanks.
Right, okay, my next pick is like kind of cheating because I picked like two series that are very similar and are kind of made. I think they're made by the same studio. It's Rhythm Heaven and WarioWare.
Oh, nice. Oh, so
And
fair enough. Go ahead.
technically, they've both like had fairly recent entries on the 3DS, but both of those entries for both of those series were just like ports of previous games. They were just like collections of mini games from like the previous entries. And I would like whether it's Rhythm Heaven or WarioWare, I think like the Switch would just be like a perfect system for either of those. Like especially a new like WarioWare party game.
Oh, with all those mini games, I feel like the Switch is made for something like that, you know?
Yeah, like a sequel to Smooth Moves, basically, that just like uses the Switch controllers in a new way, like kind of like 1-2 Switch, but good. I feel like that would be a really fantastic idea, and I mean, Rhythm Heaven has always been like one of my favorite game series ever. Honestly, like it's just so good.
I have not played Rhythm Heaven, and I've heard you do nothing but laud that, so I've got to try that.
If you like rhythm games, like if you've ever like really enjoyed playing something like Guitar Hero or anything like that, then it's a little more simple, but like it's that same just like super satisfying feeling when you manage to like nail a song perfectly. And, it has like these really strange like characters and worlds and songs that are just like completely random, like just in the same way that WarioWare is. It's just like really off the wall humor.
You know, leading up to E3, as always, there's tons and tons of rumors, and a new WarioWare is something that has come up a few times that I've heard that people are saying there might be a new WarioWare. I wouldn't be. I mean, to me, that's not like really that surprising. They since that series has been, the original came out what, Game Boy Advance?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's been one on just about every console since.
Yeah, there was two on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
There was one on the DS. There was one on the Wii. Technically one on the GameCube, but it was the same games as the Game Boy Advance one.
Oh, okay.
And then there was one on the 3DS, but it was the same games as like three other ones.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with a new one. Rhythm Heaven, though, you said hasn't been out. Like, it was on 3DS, right?
Yeah, the Rhythm Heaven was on 3DS, which was a mix of games from. There was two entries in the series. There was one that was in Japan. It was on Game Boy Advance first, then DS. That one came out here, not just on DS. And there was also one on the Wii. That one was called Rhythm Heaven Fever, and had actual like completely different game.
Cool.
And
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Mega Mix had like a mix of the two games. Sorry.
No worries, that'd be awesome. It'd be not especially Rhythm Heaven, but even WarioWare too. Would be cool. Because those are two series I haven't really dipped a little bit of WarioWare, but not a ton. It'd be cool to finally play some of those games.
I have like nothing but love for WarioWare as well. Like WarioWare Touched, like completely sold me on the DS. WarioWare Twisted was like an amazing, just like swan song for the Game Boy Advance. It had like a motion sensor and a rumble pack built into the cartridge.
Nice.
It was a crazy idea, but it was like a really good game.
I'd just love to see the Wario games come back, like the Wario Land games too. Not on my list, but a one-off game that should get a sequel is Wario World. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been playing that on like Dolphin emulator like maybe a month ago, and I was like, oh, this game is not quite as good as I remember.
Fair enough.
You know, maybe.
Cool pick.
Wario Land, though, I mean, even though it had a sequel on the Wii, that's a great series as well.
Yeah. I've liked pretty much all the Wario Land games I played. I haven't played all of them, but played I think the first two and some of four, and that's about it. So Okay. Any more to say on those two?
No, that was pretty much it. I would just love to see even just like a hybrid of those two sequels. Like, okay, just bring back them in some way.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they could have just both games in one package. It seems like they would go well together.
So,
Um, okay, my number two is finally a more recent game. I'm still technically kind of playing too. It's Bug Fables. What a
okay.
cute, great little game, man. And I'm kind of getting my wish because there's apparently another indie game. Was it you that posted that in the Discord? I think somebody posted in
Yeah,
the
I can't even
Discord.
remember. Excuse me, I can't even remember what it was called, but yeah, there's a
Something
game that's very
bread. I can't. But anyway, there's an
Paper Mario-esque.
yeah. For those who don't know or haven't seen my top 10 Switch video or haven't played it, Bug Fables is basically a love letter to the original style Paper Mario games. It's made by a developer called Moonsprout. I think they made like one other game, but Bug Fables is definitely a lot more popular. Really, really great, fun little game. It's got it's to me it's like the logical step had Paper Mario not gone in a different direction that the Paper Mario games could have taken because it sort of ups like it's definitely more challenging than the first Paper Mario or Thousand Year Door because there's a lot more like first of all you have like three people in the party so and you're like constantly switching them out and they all have kind of different abilities and stuff and yeah it's got all those like main mechanics of Paper Mario but they kind of took you could tell the team kind of took those ideas and ran with them and it's in its own unique world so yeah it's definitely like a huge love letter to Paper Mario but it's definitely its own thing too and I like the world it's like I think it's called like Bugtopia or something I don't remember and like I don't know just the little characters really fell in love with the three main characters and the game was fun very challenging and just a good time. I don't know. World was really varied. Um, had a really Rachel and I have been playing through it very slowly together. We've almost beaten it actually, and I really love it. I'd love to see a sequel to it. So
Nice. I gotta check that game out. I think it's on my wish list.
yeah, it's worth it. You get addicted to it pretty fast. I think,
Yeah,
but
let's see that.
again, it's way more difficult in my opinion than the first two Paper Mario games. So they really upped the challenge. And that's the normal mode. There's a hard mode, which I
That's
haven't tried.
good.
So
That's something that I think the Paper Mario games are kind of lacking. That I'd like to see if they remastered them. Would be a hard mode.
I didn't think Bug Fables held my hand at all. And there were times where there's certain boss fights where I'm like, oh my god, this is I don't know how I'm gonna beat this boss. And it doesn't it's not like I remember when Rachel and I were playing Color Splash, it's like coins would just explode. Like it seemed like I always had an abundant amount of coins. In Bug Fables, it feels like I never have enough currency, like never have enough. And you want to get more badges and stuff so you can, you know, upgrade your abilities and whatnot. But it's not easy. So it is a difficult game, but it's a really fun game.
Yeah, well, I think in the original Paper Mario, you weren't exactly just finding coins everywhere. You were just like, you would have to like, I remember like you'd find that Waka's bump early in the game, and like, I would usually sell it for the
Yeah.
coins because I was like desperate for the coins.
Fair enough. I remember hitting the Wacka and feeling really bad about it, but then hitting him several more
Yeah, because he's
times.
so cute.
Yeah. It's like Wacka ow or something like that. Don't hit me. God damn. Like between
Yeah.
him and the oh god. What's his name in Mother 3?
The one that you have to like dash into, the
No,
dino.
he's like you
Oh,
fight him. He's like the the something man, like the
it's been a long time since I played Mother
and I
3,
don't know,
honestly.
I forget what his name is, but then he's like, I'm just a worthless protoplasm or something. He's just like a yellow square, and
Um,
he's like on his like hands and knees, and just like
His
looks really
name, yeah,
sad.
I can't remember what he's called. That guy.
Anyway, now we're really off topic. So yeah, Bug Fables is my number two. Your number one?
So
Drum roll.
since I've been around, which this is still an amazing choice. I don't know if you've ever even played this game, but I love it. It's another DS game. It's called Retro Game Challenge. Have you ever played
I've
that
heard
game?
of it. I haven't played it.
It's like I wasn't expecting to love this game as much as I did. Like I just kind of like randomly picked it up and tried it, and it's like one of my favorite DS games by far. I just have like such fond memories of playing this game because it like somehow manages to like very well recreate the experience of like growing up in the 80s with an NES. You like play different NES games like through the ages, but you have to like unlock different challenges in each game in order to like unlock the next game.
Oh, cool.
And the only way to like really get those challenges is by like finding cheat codes and like strategies and secrets in like in-game magazines that you read.
That's cool. So it's literally a game about playing games in the '80s, essentially.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like it has these like two like little low poly like kids that will just like sit in front of the TV on the top screen while like you choose stuff on the menu. And like when you choose a game, they'll like actually put the cartridge in, and like the TV will like actually go to static, and like till the game will come on.
Yes.
And it has like little voice clips of your friend being like when you do well, he'll be like yes. And when you do badly, he'll be like no. And it's just like I don't know, like there's all these great little touches that just make it like such a like fantastic like nostalgic like authentic experience.
Very nice.
So like I'd love to see them like do multiple ages, like do like a 16-bit one and then do like an N64
That
one.
would be
Or like
awesome. You literally I just thought of that like 2 seconds before you said it. That would be a really cool idea. I'd love for them to do a 16-bit one.
because there's plenty of games that like try to recreate the feel of those old games, but then they like try to like expand it into like a bigger game.
Hmm.
But this kind of like recognized that a lot of those games were pretty limited in scope, and you would not necessarily want to just like keep playing them. That's
Hmm.
why it's like made like a bunch of smaller games. Although it literally has like a Dragon Quest clone in it, and you
Oh,
like literally
really?
just play through this RPG like it's the last game you unlock.
That's pretty awesome. How many games do you play through?
I think it's like 6 or 7 total because there's some sequels in there. There's like a racing game. There's like a little platformer. Um, and there's like a sequel to each of those, and then there's an RPG. I'm trying to remember. I never beat it, so there might have been other stuff that I didn't unlock.
Well, again, it
Um,
seems like that could have a lot of potential, like you said, for sequels because absolutely you could have like a handheld version where somebody's playing like a
yeah.
Game Boy.
Oh, there was a couple of space shooters as well.
Nice,
But
nice.
like, it was just yeah, it was like one of like pretty much of all the games that have tried to like recapture that like feel of playing old NES games. Like I've never played anything that like is that authentic and that nostalgic as Retro Game Challenge.
Cool. Once again, with your picks, you're making me want to go play some of these games.
It even has this like crazy weird like holographic wireframe Japanese guy. I think he's from like a game show in Japan who like sponsored the development of the game. And he'll like taunt you every time you beat a game, and he'll be like, "Oh, you're pretty good. I think you can handle the next one." It's like really amazing.
That's great. Uh,
Yeah, I was pretty floored by that game.
well, man, wow, man, another solid top five for you. For me, my number one is one I think that a lot of people want to see. I think it's one of those kind of obvious choices, in my opinion. And they've tried several times to make a sequel to this, and they just didn't pan out. And it's Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yes, that would be that would be great. Until we
Yeah,
get the old team back together and get
David.
Chris Sever back to Rare.
Oh, it'd be so good, so good. I mean, I was reading about it. They've tried like two sequels, I think. Like they had planned a sequel when it originally came out, but as you probably know, when the game came out, it bombed, like just totally bombed in sales. And then they were gonna do. Do you remember that stupid? It's when micro. It's after Microsoft got Rare. They had some stupid like Conker game where Conker the real world, and it was like, what was it called? I can't remember. Anyway, it
I
looked
mean,
all.
there was the remake. Is that the one you're talking
No,
about?
the remake is different. I'm not talking about the remake.
Um,
It was this other thing. Um, that was gonna be a
it had
sequel, and they canceled it because the response to it was so bad.
oh, I
But it,
remember them having like some kind of game creation tool, and they had like Conquer DLC for it. And that was like the first time they'd even mentioned Conquer in like 10 years, and people were like, "This is a slap in the face."
yeah, well, exactly. And long story short is like, yes, that game did terribly when it came out, but it has such a legacy now, and it's now one of the most sought after N64 games. And I
I sold
played
my
it.
cartridge for like $100, and that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I think the cheapest I've seen is like $50. Um, and I that was before prices skyrocketed after the pandemic, so who knows what it costs now. But yeah, Conker's. I never owned Conker's Bad Fur Day, but my friend lent it to me, and I remember playing that when I was a kid, and I was just like, "This game is so ridiculous," you know. It just, I don't know.
It was,
It blew my mind that an N64 game could be like that, you know. And I think the multiplayer mode, if you had that online play, that's all you need. You don't even need to
and
do a full on. You to me, you don't even need to do the adventure mode. You just need make an online version of that. I'll pay the $60. You know.
speaking of
Um,
that remake they did, like when they remade it on the Xbox, I was like so excited to try it out.
mhm.
And then the multiplayer wasn't even that stuff. It was completely different. It was like
Yeah,
based on Team Fortress for some reason.
and it seems like everybody I talk to about that game go, "Oh man, that multiplayer mode was amazing." You know, like everybody. It's like so. Just why would you change that? Everybody loves that. You know.
Yeah, the multiplayer was like so like there was so much variety to it, and so like it was pretty ahead of its time. Like it was almost like perfect dark level of like being able to like tune the like options and add AI and stuff
Yep,
like that.
it was
Like the one
great.
mode where you could like there was like two castles and you had to like get a canister from the basement and then it would activate like this poison gas and you'd have to like get a gas mask to prevent yourself from dying from it. Such a crazy mode.
I know it was great. And yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing that as a kid, and the one player mode was great too. Um,
Right.
just such that game's had such a great sense of humor and such a unique style, and it's just such a classic now that it's like it's been so many years. Like Microsoft is sitting on all these old rare IPs. It's like give us a new Banjo, give us a new Conker, a new Perfect Dark. All of them, like, come on, you know.
That'd be perfect dark style.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, you're right. I forgot Perfect Dark is coming.
It's
Yeah.
possible they might. I mean, yeah, they tried to make a new banjo that didn't work out. They never tried to make a new Conquer since the original Xbox.
Well,
I
some of
have
it
to
is. I
wonder
wonder
if
how
they tried.
much of some of those developers are still at Rare. I know a lot of them have left. You
Yeah.
know.
But I think there. I shouldn't say they haven't tried. I think there have been multiple like attempts that were in development hell. Basically,
Hmm.
I think Rare just kind of gave up on trying to like rely on their own IPs. That's why they made Sea of Thieves because they wanted to like start with a fresh slate.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, but like you said, Microsoft has all these IPs and they have like so many developers under their umbrella now. You would think that someone would want to make a new Banjo Kazooie or a new Conquer,
Well,
whatever.
it seems like there's like a lot of people are talking about Microsoft and Nintendo's relationship too, and then Nintendo has all that history with Rare. Maybe they'll do something. You know. I don't know.
I mean, it'd be crazy if Microsoft gave Nintendo their blessing to like use that IP, and then Nintendo had one of their developers, like maybe like I don't know, like Next Level Games, make a
Yeah,
Banjo game or something
that
like
would be
that.
awesome. Yeah.
Or like for Conquer, I don't even know who would make that at this point. Like if it wasn't Rare, who would make it? Like maybe Playtonic could do it, or
Oh, I think play. I mean, it'd be awesome to see Platonic do it. You know. Uh,
yeah,
but
or
I don't
maybe they
know.
could make a new Banjo game. Like imagine if Microsoft got Playtonic to just make a new Banjo game.
That'd be
It'd be pretty crazy.
yeah, or just partner with them with Rare or something. I don't know, but I'm sure Banjo is the more likely thing. That I think eventually there'll be another Banjo game, but Conker has just never had that series has had no luck really.
Maybe
Um,
the guys who made Super Lucky's Tale can do
yeah,
it. I don't know. I don't know how good that game is.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's my number one. It'd be cool to see a new Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think the original sequel they were gonna go with the title was Conker's Other Bad Day. So yeah,
Yeah.
how about that?
I think they did have some ideas floating around for a sequel. They just were not able to get it off the ground for
Nah.
whatever reason.
So yep, that's my five. That's your five. What's your top five? Eh? Let us know in the comments below. This was really fun as always, James. I really enjoyed it.
Indubitably. I gotta throw in Half-Life 3 as well as my bonus pick. It's the obvious choice, but
Yeah. My
or Portal 3.
my obvious choice was Super Mario RPG, but I just didn't. I was like, yeah, Super Mario RPG can't be on every list, man. You know. And the other really obvious one, to be honest with you, is another Chrono game.
Yeah, that's one pretty honest one.
I mean, that'd be great. Um, so I don't know.
Not gonna pick Final Fantasy 13 4.
Duh. How did that escape me? Well, all right. I don't know. This was fun.
I had a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's always fun just chatting about this kind of stuff with you. We're gonna probably do another news show soon. I don't know when. Probably within the next week or two. Hopefully there's been more news kind of trickling out there. A lot of rumors building up here. And maybe we could try to like do some kind of prediction video for E3. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I guess if it's gonna be in a couple of weeks, we may as well just do an E3 prediction at that point because everyone's gonna be talking about it.
Yeah. Maybe early June we could do something like that and then do some kind of coverage. It'd be cool to even stream or something, or like I like the idea, like you said, of having a round table discussion. You know.
We could genuinely do that. Actually, now that I have internet that's capable of it, we could even potentially try to like do like a live reaction to stuff.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I could probably do it too with this too. So that'd be really fun.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Sounds
All right.
fun.
Cool. Well, that was fun. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Thank you, James, for joining me and doing this. Thank you, Self, for
Thank
doing
you.
this. I don't know. I'll stop. And now take us out. We have no outro, so just improv.
Thank you again for joining us at Kuroda Mob News.
Oh, should have drum set. I don't know. I'm obviously getting kind of tired. Bye, guys.